You won't believe what happens next. He quietly picks up his watch, puts it on, covering the footprint guard tattoo. But the nightmare for Dong-joo was just getting started. First, Chairman Chi tried to put some wine in the safe and bam, wrong password. He quickly rushed to the chairman's vault, only to find it wrong too. As the most trusted assistant, only they knew these passwords. Now that the password's been changed, it clearly means Chairman Chi no longer trusts him. Just imagine how that feels. It must be unbearable. So, Mr. President, what have you been chatting about with him? How would I know? Just the day before the wedding, as the other chairman's family-in-law, Chairman Chi suddenly dropped the truth bomb on him. The only reason he still let Dong-joo attend the wedding was to check if Dong-joo already knew that the bride was his granddaughter. After all, one represents genuine emotions while the other is a hidden identity. The chairman was willing to verify because he was quite pleased. However, when he learned that Dong-joo gave up on hitting on his granddaughter in America for the bride, he felt a bit let down. But Dong-joo's answer was pure gold. That answer had the chairman grinning from ear to ear. As a reward, he drove Dong-joo to a bakery himself. Then, he looked at the boy working there before finally revealing his last secret to Dong-joo. This secret put Dong-joo on high alert since the old chairman only had 2 daughters. Their abilities were poor, so the family legacy could only go to the son-in-law. If the son's identity was exposed, the clan would be in chaos. Not only did the old chairman share the secret, but he also revealed the new password to him. Talk about trust going up a notch. Dong-joo's luck may deceive, for fortune often brings misfortune. When told to bring cash to meet in-laws, a death trap was set. Clearly, the chairman knew about his affair with his daughter-in-law, seeing him as a threat. Chairman Chaebol left Dong-joo no choice but to step up. Little Tiger, kneeling down and begging for mercy, had flipped the script in just 2 days, making that lofty chairman grovel. Not only did he ruin 2 of the chairman's plans, but he also turned the bodyguard into a punching bag. When he finally stood before the chairman, he didn't even have the courage to confront him, but just went down on his knees, begging for mercy. He kept begging for forgiveness, but the chairman was having none of it, thinking, well, the cat's out of the bag. Why would I let the enemy live? Little Tiger, however, had the perfect line that piqued the chairman's curiosity. It's clear the chairman was clueless about the situation. He thought he lost just a small amount, but the number that crossed Dong-joo's line was mind-blowing. Dong-joo wasn't about to give it back right away. So, he proposed transferring $2 billion first, then $7 billion upon returning home, with the rest over $30 billion to follow if the chairman spared his life. In no time, the $2 billion transfer was completed. Chairman let Dong-joo go as promised, showing it wasn't challenging. Dong-joo was well aware of things, but the only surprise was running into his ex-girlfriend Yinglen right after he nearly dodged death. No matter how much resentment, it seemed trivial. They didn't linger long, as their survival depended on tonight's moves. But before that, he had to make sure he wasn't being followed, and it turned out he was right. There was a tracker under the car. Meanwhile, in another scene, Dong-joo dialed an old phone number after entering and unpacking gear. It was the CEO number from King Corporation. She wasn't simple. After closing the shop, he entered the inner room and found a complete hacker setup. Soon, Dong-joo knocked on Kin's back door. Their expression showed years of acquaintance, and Dong-joo had laid out his plans. When transferring $2 billion to Chairman Line, Dong-joo downloaded malware from Kin's site, then diverted the bodyguard's attention using Hyun's commotion. And he seized the chance to install malware on the laptop. Now, he just needed to call Chairman Line, say the $7 billion was sent, and the bodyguard would log back into the Swiss account. Finally, leveraging his photographic memory, he memorized all the passwords. The first step was entirely complete, but before he proceeded to the final move, he needed to handle Chairman Cha's tasks and foster a good relationship with Fresh Fish, the chairman's illegitimate son. That's right, the reason Chairman Chi trusted him was not only his impressive memory, but his clear understanding of the chairman's intentions. To spark Fresh Fish's interest, he intentionally pretended familiarity with Fish's mother. When he left, Fresh Fish indeed followed. Meanwhile, a photo of them playing ball together soon made its way to Chairman Chi. Such acts would lead to future knowledge. Clearly, the chairman was extremely pleased with Dong-joo and even invited him to dinner. As the family waited for dinner, a surprise, Chairman Chi's granddaughter, Dong-joo's sexy England, suddenly returned. She took off her sunglasses, revealing a nose that was swollen like a peach. Turns out, the granddaughter of the judge wasn't one to mess with. Despite her battered face, Grandpa Judge was furious, wanting to break son-in-law's legs. However, when the son-in-law arrived, they suddenly turned their focus on Dong-joo. The joyous atmosphere turned absurd when the son-in-law yanked the bracelets off his wife. They watched Grandpa's assistant sue Dong-joo, not the granddaughter. Noticing this, the husband quietly stood between them, too scared to speak. Fortunately, Grandpa challenged in just in time, allowing Dong-joo to clock out early. Strange atmosphere finally eased. Where's Anan? The firebud's mother is used, but Dong-joo didn't leave. After the son-in-law left, he ran to the villa's backyard and knocked on Yinan's door. That's right. Although Yinan had betrayed him first, after last night's questions, Dong-joo had chosen to forgive. But he came not just out of pity, had leave the next day. He hoped his ex would join him in eloping. But alas, Dong-joo could only shove a phone into her hands and leave quickly. What he didn't expect was that her stepdad was also along. Her stepdad noticed the new phone in his hands. Meanwhile, Dong-joo called Chairman Lion upon arrival. He transferred $30 billion, urging quick confirmation. Meanwhile, Dong-joo checked the balance as Lion's assistant logged into the Swiss account. However, the balance turned out to be only $15 billion. Dong-joo's alarm bells went off in his head. There was no way he could rest easy.